I would like to tell you today a story, one of the most beautiful ones I've had the chance to share, in my opinion, and I dedicate it to little Shai Hakun for his success. It's the story of Rav Tzvi Hirshai, who was one of the greatest masters of German Judaism in the 18th century. And in addition to their 12 children, he and his wife, the rabbinate, adopted a young child named Maya Amshel. The Rav and his wife raised him like their own son, giving him all the love a child should receive. And this was done in strict observance of the Torah and the mitzvot. And when Maya became mature enough, he wanted to gain his independence and left to live and work in the neighboring village. A few weeks after his departure, the Durav family, the big cleaning of the house begins in preparation for the Passover celebration. The eve of Passover arrives, it's time for the bdikat. The hamitz, the search for hamitz that we do in the evening, the search starts. The Rav obviously goes through all the rooms of the house. And when he arrives at his office, at the moment of checking for the presence or absence of kametz, of bread in the drawers of his desk, he realizes that an envelope containing 100 rubles has gone missing. It's an envelope of money that he was hiding and setting aside in anticipation of his eldest daughter's wedding, which was happening in 2 months. All the family members are stunned. No one outside the family circle knew about this hiding place. And reluctantly, they imagine the worst, and the suspicions they have can only fall on Maya, their adopted son. And coincidentally, it's 2 weeks after his departure that the envelope is discovered to be missing. Imagine, Laura didn't want to go see her son. He couldn't accept the idea that he could be the one who stole the envelope. But the Rabbanit insists and convinces the Rav to go question him to get to the bottom of it. Because indeed, this money was meant to marry off their daughter. So the Rav goes to see his son and explains the reason for his visit and asks him the question, "Is it you, my boy, who stole this envelope?" Maya takes quite a long moment to think. And in the end, Maya admits that he indeed stole the 100 rubles. He even starts to cry and begs his father-in-law to forgive him. He hands him the sum of 50 rubles since he had just started working recently. And he promises him that in a few weeks he will manage to gather the remaining 50 rubles. The Rav can't believe it. The family is disgusted by such ingratitude. They who have educated, who gave him all the love a child needs, and even though they suspected him themselves, the whole family still can't believe it. It's hard to believe that something like this could happen coming from a boy who is usually so virtuous. And a few days later, the local police chief knocks on the Rav's door in Levis. "Rav," the police tell him, "we found a thief, a completely drunk man last night at the Brasserie de la Grande Place. He bragged about stealing 100 rubles from the spiritual leader of the Jewish community, yourself. The bar manager reported him to the authorities and the culprit has just been arrested." Rav Levi tells him that it must surely be a mistake because he has already found the thief and has already recovered a part of the stolen amount. But when the policeman pulls the envelope out of his pocket, the rabbi is stunned. The policeman is holding an envelope identical to the one he lost, and upon closer inspection, it is indeed his envelope, as the rabbi recognizes his handwriting on it and the color of the envelope. He thanks the policeman and closes the door of the house. The whole family is standing in front of him, speechless and especially very embarrassed by this new truth. What's going on? How could they have doubted Maya? And why would Maya have lied? Why did he pretend to be the culprit? The Rav is nonetheless relieved to learn that his adopted son, whom he raised as his own, is apparently not guilty of theft. He goes out and immediately heads to the neighboring village to ask his adopted son, Maya Amshel, for an explanation. Maya feels very embarrassed about having lied to his stepfather. He explains himself and says to him, "Dad, how could you imagine that I stole from you? I who owe you so much. Me who owes you everything." And with tears in his eyes, Maya Amshel continues and says, In fact, when I learned that the amount set aside for your daughter's wedding had been stolen, I thought it was my chance to repay my debt to you. Finally, I saw your distress. I knew that if I had offered you financial help, you would have refused it. So I let you accuse me wrongly so that, yes, finally, now that I earn a living, I could support you by repaying the 100 rubles. The lie was indeed very heavy for Maya to bear. The whole community, the whole town knew. A great shame surrounded this Maya, and he starts to cry, relieved to finally have confessed the truth to the Ravi. And Rav Tzvi Irchelevi is reassured by the honesty of his little Maya, impressed by the fact that he was willing to make himself out to be a thief to help him. And in tears, he takes Maya Amshel in his arms and hugs him affectionately. And before leaving, he looks at Maya Amshel deeply and blesses him with great fervor. He was one of the great spiritual leaders of the German Jewish community. He says to him, I implore, Master of the world, I implore, Akadosh Baruch Hu. If you are the Master Amshel, you have taken it upon yourself. The pain of shame, the responsibility of a theft, solely out of gratitude for all that we have given you. So I ask the Creator to reward your honesty and courage by granting you and to your descendants His blessings. May wealth never leave your family. Well, Maya Amshel Rothschild becomes the first banker of the great and famous lineage of the Rothschild family, known and recognized in the world of business and philanthropy. When HM decides to give wealth to a man, that wealth is infinite. If we decide to give, then HM will decide to give to us. Strength as well we see in this story of gratitude